Thank you Printful for sponsoring a portion of the video. Hi everyone, welcome to Lilthings. I'm Elise and I'm here to help you find comfort within yourself through crocheting. Y'all are crazy about the K-pop demon hunter bird and demanded a tutorial for it, so there you go. Also, a really important announcement. I've been working on this project for over a year now, and after months and months of preparation and hard work, our yarn store has finally come to life. Crocheting has really got me through the loneliest and the toughest nights when I was studying abroad in Australia, and I just really want to share the same comfort that it brings me to you. So if you want to support me or you want to try our yarn, go to lilthingsworld.com and get yours now. Also, we ship worldwide. By the way, if you ever tried running a handmade business, you'll know how much time and effort it takes for every order. Your crocheting, your packing, your handwriting thank you cards, running to the post office. Yes, it's rewarding, but honestly, it could get overwhelming very quickly. Sometimes I feel like I spend more time doing admin work than actually creating. That's why having another way of earning, one where you don't have to do all the making and shipping by hand, and actually allow you to focus on the fun part, the creative part, could be beneficial. And that's exactly where Printful comes in. Printful is a print-on-demand service with over 300 customizable products. You can put your designs on things like tote bags, t-shirts, mugs, and many more. And the best part, you don't need to order inventory upfront or sit with unsold stocks like traditional businesses. With Printful, whenever a customer buys, Printful prints it, packages it, and then it ships directly to your customer. They even handle global fulfillment, so you can reach customers all around the world without worrying about logistics. Starting is super simple. You just sign up, choose whatever products you want, upload your artwork, and then connect it to your shop or marketplace like Etsy or Shopify, and then set your prices, and that's it. Whenever somebody orders, Printful takes care of the rest while you focus on designing new art or work on your handmade projects. For artists and makers, this can be such a good way to expand your brand and free up your time without losing that creative spark. Definitely check out Printful through my link in the description box. Now let's talk about materials. So we'll need a color 01 and color 21. You'll also need 3mm hook, scissors, stitch marker, and darning needle, and stuffing as well. And you'll also need felt, and I'm using the color black, yellow, and gray. By the way, I have to note that this tutorial is not an absolute beginner or beginner tutorial like the other videos I do. I use abbreviations here and I go over the stitches a little quicker than usual, so I recommend knowing all the basics before starting this tutorial. And that's about it. So without further ado, let's get started. First, we're going to start with our black yarn and we're going to wrap it around our pinky like this. Then we're going to pull up, then we're going to wrap it around our index finger and then around our middle finger from bottom to up like this, and you'll see a cross. Now we're going to grab our hook. We're going to grab the bottom strand of the cross and then use your hook and twist it, and that will create a loop on your hook. Now we're going to do a yarn over on the working yarn, so go behind and over and then pull it through the loop on your hook. Or if you know another way of doing the magic ring, you can do it your way as well. Now congrats, you've made your magic ring. Now we're going to make 6 single crochet into this magic ring. First, insert hook into the magic ring, yarn under, pull up a loop. Now we have 2 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on our hook like this. Now since this is the very first stitch, mark it with the stitch marker. Then we're just going to go ahead and make 5 more single crochet in this magic ring. So insert hook, yarn under, pull up a loop, then we got 2 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook like this. And we're just going to continue making it until we reach the stitch marker and we have 6 single crochet. Now pull the tail after finishing 6 single crochet. Now we're going to take out the stitch marker, insert hook back into this very first stitch. Then we're going to do a slip stitch. So yarn over, pull through the stitch and pull through the loop on your hook. Now we're going to tighten it, tighten the slip stitch. Now ta-da, here is our round 1. Now we're going to make our round 2. Round 2, start by chaining 1, so yarn over, pull through the loop on your hook. Now we're going to be placing 1 increase in each and every stitch, so you'll have 6 increases in total. So start by inserting your hook into the first stitch like this. Then we're going to do a single crochet, so yarn under, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through. Now we're just going to grab the stitch marker, mark it because it's the very first stitch. Now we're going to go back into the same stitch that we placed our first single crochet, going back into the same stitch, make a second one, and that is an increase. So we're just going to place basically 2 single crochet in each and every stitch for round 2. So in the second stitch, I'm going to make my first single crochet, then going back into the same space, make a second one. Then we're going to repeat it until the end of the round. Now we have just finished our stitches. Now take out our stitch marker, insert hook into the first stitch, do a slip stitch like this. Now ta-da, we have just finished our round 2, and remember it's very important to tighten the slip stitch so we don't mistake it as a extra stitch for round 3. Now chain 1 for round 3, then we're going to be making 1 single crochet followed by an increase, and we're going to repeat it for the entire round. So first insert a hook into the first stitch, place our first single crochet like this. Now mark it with a stitch marker as usual. Now for the next one, it is an increase, so place 2 single crochet in 1 exact stitch. Now this is the pattern for round 3. We're just going to repeat this, so 1 single crochet followed by an increase, and then again 1 single crochet increase. Just going to repeat it until we reach the stitch marker. Now I've just reached the stitch marker, take it out and do a slip stitch. So yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on your hook. Then remember to tighten it, it's very important. Now we're up to round 4 to round 11, and these few rounds we're just going to place 1 single crochet in each and every stitch without any increases or anything. So start by chaining 1 for each round. So we're just going to place our first single crochet, so yarn under, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull through. Now for every first stitch we have to mark it with a stitch marker. Now continue placing just 1 stitch at a time in every stitch all around round 4, and then you're just going to repeat it until you reach round 11. So these repetitive rounds are to make the neck, so the neck is very long, that's why from round 4 to round 11 there's no increases. Then do a slip stitch at the end here, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. Now we're just going to repeat this round, round 4, until round 11. So now we have just reached our round 11. Now we're making our round 12. Now for round 12, we are going to make 1 single crochet and then followed by an increase. We're just going to repeat this pattern for 6 times. So 1 single crochet, 1 increase, 1 single crochet, 1 increase. Now start by chaining 1 and then make our first single crochet. Then place the stitch marker in the stitch. Now it's followed by an increase for the upcoming stitch. So you have something that looks like this. Now we're going to keep repeating this pattern. Upcoming stitch would be 1 single crochet followed by an increase. So I'm just making the increase stitch right now. We're basically going to repeat this until the round ends. Now we have just finished round 12. Now we're just going to take out the stitch marker and do a slip stitch. So insert hook into the very first stitch of the round, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. From this round and onwards, we're going to start using white yarn. So place your white yarn like this, right underneath our hook. Then we're going to do a yarn over on the white yarn. So yarn over, pull it through the black loop. Now we have just attached the white yarn to our hook. Now we're just going to tighten it to make sure that it doesn't unravel. Now we're going to make our first single crochet, so insert a hook into the first stitch and make sure that the black tail and the white tail are also caught on your hook, hidden inside the stitch. Now place your stitch marker into the first stitch. Now the pattern for this round is going to be 2 single crochet followed by 1 increase. So let's make our second single crochet and make sure that you're also going through the 2 tails. Now as you can see, we have 2 stitches. Now it's followed by an increase. So making my first increase, my first single crochet of the increase, and then my second one. And ta-da! We have just finished one pattern. Now we're just going to repeat this sequence until the very end. So start by making 2 single crochet again. Then after 2 separate single crochet, it's time for an increase. Now we're just going to repeat this sequence and then do it until we reach the stitch marker. Now we've reached the stitch marker, simply just take it out and then insert hook back into the first stitch, yarn over, pull through, and pull through to make a slip stitch. Now congrats, you've gone so far and I'm sure you'll be able to finish the whole piece with ease. Now for this round, we're going to start by making just 6 single crochet and then it's followed by a pattern of single crochet, increase for 6 times, and then 12 single crochet. So start by chaining 1 and then make 6 single crochet. So of course for the very first stitch, mark it with a stitch marker. Now after the 6 single crochet, we're going to make 1 single crochet followed by an increase. And we're going to repeat this for 6 times. So 1 single crochet and then the second stitch will be an increase. So I'm making my increase now. So we've just finished our first pair like this. I'm going to repeat it for 6 times. So I'm making my second pair. Now making my third pair, 1 single crochet and then an increase. Now I have just finished my last pair. Now it's followed by 12 single crochet. So it'll just be normal single crochet, 1 stitch at a time. So placing my first single crochet here, and then my second, and basically 1 single crochet all across until you reach the stitch marker. Now when you reach the end, take out the stitch marker and then do a slip stitch. Now we're going to start a new round and start by making a chain 1. For this round we're going to make a color change, so we're going to use white yarn to make 12 single crochet first, and then we're going to switch to black yarn. So let's make our very first single crochet with our white yarn. Then of course we have to mark it with the stitch marker. Then let's finish the 12 single crochet. So I'm on the very last stitch for the 12th single crochet. I'm on my 12th stitch. Then we're going to grab our black yarn and do not finish it off. So we just pull up a loop. We do not yarn over and pull through both loops. We just leave the very last step and pull through with the black yarn to do a color change. So after you've done that, we are going to crochet 6 single crochet with the black yarn. Now we're going to make our first single crochet and make sure that the tail, the yarn tail for the white and black yarn are also hidden inside the stitches as you crochet. Now I'm making my 3rd single crochet. We have 3 more to go. We need a total of 6 black single crochet. And remember, for the 6th single crochet that you do not finish it. Now I'm doing my very last single crochet for the black yarn, and as you can see, I'm not yarning over and pulling it through. I'm not finishing it. And I'm going to grab my white yarn here, and I'm going to do it yarn over and pull through 2 loops on our hook to finish it. Now we have successfully changed colors. Now we're going to do our stitches with white yarn for the rest of the round. So you'll leave with 18 more single crochet to do until we reach the stitch marker. Now after the very last stitch, take our stitch marker and do a slip stitch there. You can also go ahead and cut the black yarn from the body. Now for the upcoming round, we are going to be making 12 single crochet with our white yarn. So let's make our first single crochet here and then mark it with the stitch marker. Once I finish my 12 single crochet, we are going to go ahead and chain 6. So we're going to skip the upcoming 6 stitches. So start by chaining 1. So yarn over, pull through the loop on your hook. Now this is chain 1. You can see there's a V here. Now we're going to chain a total of 6. After chaining 6, we're going to insert our hook into the 6th stitch from where our stitch was. So basically you just need to skip where the black stitches were and then crochet a single crochet into the white stitch. Now we're just going to make 18 more single crochet until we reach the stitch marker. So keep on making 1 single crochet each and every stitch, and I'll meet you when I'm done. After this, take out your stitch marker and then do a slip stitch. After this, chain 1 to start a new round. Then we're going to be making 12 single crochet all across. Now I've finished my 12 single crochet. We are just going to insert our hook into the chain. So just insert a hook right in the middle of the chain, the V, and you'll pick up 1 loop and make 6 single crochet on each and every chain. So 1 stitch on each chain. And we have 6 chains, so we're going to repeat it for 6 times. Again, insert a hook right in the middle of the chain, picking up 1 loop. Please single crochet there. Now I have just 3 more left to do. Now you have a gap in the middle like this, and that is where we're going to make the tail. Now we're just going to crochet, keep on crocheting just 1 single crochet each and every stitch until the stitch marker. At the end, do a slip stitch. Then you're going to want to chain 1. This round and onwards, we're going to be making decreases. So that means taking 2 stitches from the previous round and make them into 1. So first, we're going to be making 4 single crochet followed by 1 decrease. And we're going to repeat this pair for 6 times. So I've made 2 single crochet, making my 3rd, and then making my 4th. After the 4th, the upcoming stitch, which is the 5th stitch, it's going to be a decrease. So to make a decrease, we're going to insert our hook into the upcoming stitch like this. However, we're just picking up 1 loop, the front loop of both of the stitches. The front loop means the loop that's closest to us. And we're going to yarn over, pull through both front loops of the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook. And ta-da, here is our first decrease. And this is an invisible decrease, so you won't be able to see the decrease. It's very subtle. Now let's continue making 4 single crochet and then make a decrease after that. So now I've reached where I need to make another decrease, so pick up 2 front loop of the upcoming stitches, yarn over, and then pull through 2 loops on your hook, like this. Now let's make another 4 single crochet, and this is my 2nd single crochet, and then my 3rd, and then my last one, my 4th. Now we've reached the decrease, so we're just pick up the front loops of the upcoming 2 stitches like this, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now ta-da! We are just going to repeat it until the end of the round and basically repeat this pattern for 6 times. We are making our 4th, so I'll meet you when I'm done. Now do a slip stitch by the end of the round. Then we're going to do a chain 1 to start a new round. Now for this round, we're going to be making 3 single crochet followed by a decrease. So now we're just making our first. We just have 2 more. So this is my 2nd, and then my 3rd. Then we have reached the decrease, so pick up 2 front loop of the upcoming 2 stitches, yarn over, pull through the front loops. We got 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2. Now do another 3 single crochet again, then followed by a decrease. So pick up 2 front loops, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now I'm making my 3rd pair, and after 3 single crochet, and then pick up 2 front loops of the upcoming 2 stitches to make an invisible decrease. Now we're just going to continue making this until we reach the stitch marker. At the end, do a slip stitch to the very first stitch. Then we're gonna chain 1 to start a new round. Now this round is pretty similar to the previous round. We're making 2 single crochet, then followed by a decrease. Now after 2 single crochet, now we're just going to make a decrease. Just pick up the 2 front loop and make a single crochet. Now again, 2 single crochet here, then do a decrease. Now we're just going to repeat this pattern for a total of 6 times and until you reach the stitch marker. So I'm just going to quickly do that and then I'll meet you when I'm done. At the end, do a slip stitch to finish off the round. Then for the second last round, we're going to chain 1 to start the round. Since this is the second last round, we're going to put stuffing. Now let's continue making stitches. For this round, we're making 1 single crochet followed by a decrease. So this is my first single crochet, then the next stitch would be a decrease. Then single crochet again, and the next stitch is a decrease. and then again the third time, single crochet and then decrease. Basically repeat this until the end of the round and a total of 6 times. Now we've reached the end, take out the stitch marker, do a slip stitch. Now to do the very last round, we are going to chain 1 and then just do 6 decreases. So after the chain 1, we don't have to do a single crochet anymore, just 6 decreases. So pick up the front loop of the first stitch as well as the second stitch, then do our first decrease. And then mark it with a stitch marker. Now let's do this again. Pick up 2 front loops, then yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through the remaining 2. Now let's do our third decrease. Pick up the 2 front loop and make a single crochet. Now just 3 more. Pick up 2 front loops. Now take the stitch marker out and do a slip stitch. Now ta-da! You have something that looks like this, and we're very close to finishing our whole piece. Now we're just going to pull a big loop, then we're just going to cut our yarn from there. Now the very last step is to just hide the tail, so insert a hook into a random stitch from the last round and then just yarn over on the yarn tail and pull it through. This is to just make it go through a couple of stitches of the last round to make sure it doesn't unravel. And at the end here, you're going to want to pull it tight. Then insert a hook into a random stitch from the body into the very last round, the center, the little gap in the middle, and then use your hook to pull the yarn tail through and make sure it's hidden inside the body where the stuffing is. Now this is the fun part, we're making the tail, so you can see there is a gap for the tail and it allows our hook to go through the stitch. So basically insert a hook into a middle stitch, whatever stitch you want it to be, from the bottom row, and then you're going to want to pull the black yarn through. Then we're going to go ahead and chain 1. Then we're going to make a bunch of single crochet and a little decrease in there. So first start by making 1 single crochet there into the first stitch and then mark it with the stitch marker. Then we're going to make a second single crochet into the following stitch. You'll notice how you can only pick up 1 loop because it is just half of the chain. Remember how we did a chain 6 here? So now we've just finished 2 single crochet. For the upcoming one, we're making a decrease. The decrease that I'm going to be doing right now is a little bit different. Basically, just insert a hook into the upcoming stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now we have 2 loops on our hook. Insert your hook into the second stitch for the decrease, and then yarn over, pull up a loop. Now we have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops together. And honestly, you can do any kind of decrease you want as long as it's a decrease. You could do it like how we used to do. It's an invisible decrease. This is just another way to make a decrease. Now, depending on where you started your piece, for me, I still have 1 more stitch. So I'm just going to go ahead and make 1 single crochet. Now it's a decrease. So insert a hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. Since it's a decrease, go to the second stitch as well, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3 loops on your hook. And now it's followed by 2 single crochet. So this is my first single crochet, and then the next single crochet, and then it's followed by a decrease again. So insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, then the next one as well, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over, pull through 3 loops on your hook. Now on the top row, we still have 1 single crochet left. Then now for the very last stitch, we're going to be making a decrease. So insert a hook into 1 loop, pull up a loop, and then the second loop, the very last loop, then make a single crochet like this. Now after this, we have just completed round 1 of our tail. Then do a slip stitch. Then we're gonna chain 1 to start a new round, and for round 2 to round 3, it's just gonna be 1 single crochet in each and every stitch, so 10 single crochet in total for round 2 to round 3. Now at the end, we're gonna do a slip stitch. Now for round 3, start by chaining 1, and then again, same as round 2, place 1 single crochet in each and every stitch. You'll have 10 stitches in total. At the end, do a slip stitch. Now for round 4, start by chaining 1, then we're going to do 3 single crochet followed by a decrease. We'll repeat it for 2 times. So my first single crochet, then we're going to place 2 more, and then our third one. After this, we're going to make a decrease. So insert your hook, pick up the front loop, and pick up the second front loop, yarn over, pull through the front loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook. Now we're going to repeat it again. So 3 single crochet, then a decrease. Then do a slip stitch. After this, we're going to chain 1. Then for round 5, we're going to be doing 8 single crochet each and every stitch, 1 single crochet at a time. When you reach the stitch marker, do a slip stitch, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. Then chain 1. Now for round 6, we're going to be doing 2 single crochet, then 1 decrease. We're going to repeat it for 2 times. So my second single crochet, then a decrease. So pick up 2 front loops of the upcoming stitch, then do a single crochet. Now repeat it again, 2 single crochet individual. This might get a little tricky, so just do it slowly. Then do a slip stitch at the end here. Then pull a big loop, then cut the loop. Now there is an opening on the end of the tail. Then we're gonna kind of sew the tail to close up the gap. So you're gonna insert your hook into both sides of the opening and then just go back and forth. At the end, just hide the yarn tail into the body of the bird and then cut the remaining yarn tail. So we're so close to finishing it. Now we're gonna go ahead and make the wings. Start by making a slip knot, so make a loop on your finger. Then in that loop, we're gonna pull the working yarn through the loop on our finger and then pull it through. And there you go. You will see a loop and then a knot and a yarn tail and the working yarn at the bottom. Now we're gonna insert our hook into the loop and pull the working yarn to close up the loop. Now start by chaining 1, yarn over, pull through. Now we're going to chain again, yarn over, pull through, so we have a total of chain 2. Now we're going to make 2 single crochet in the first chain. So insert hook into the very first chain and make our first single crochet. So yarn under, pull up a loop. Now we have 2 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops on our hook. Now we are going to insert our hook into the same chain again and place another single crochet. Now let's start another round. Start by chaining 1, Then we're gonna turn our work, make our first single crochet. For this row, we're gonna make 2 single crochet increases, so let's make our first increase. Start by making our first single crochet and go back into the same stitch that we did and place another one. Now let's go into the second stitch. Then we're gonna place 2 single crochet in this exact same stitch. So let's make our first one and going back into the same stitch and make another one. Then chain 1, and then we're gonna turn our work. Then we're gonna be making 4 single crochet, so no increases or anything. So insert your hook into the first stitch, place 1 single crochet, and then just place 3 other separate single crochet, 1 stitch at a time. Then we're going to yarn over it and then turn our work. This is going to be a little bit tricky, but bear with me. First, start by making a single crochet. Then we're going to skip the next stitch, going into the second stitch from the previous one, and then make 2 single crochet separately. Then after this, chain 1 to start a new round. Then turn your work. Then you're going to want to skip the very first stitch, so this stitch, and then insert your hook into the second stitch from the chain. Then for this row, we're just going to make 2 separate single crochet. And after making the 2 single crochet, chain 1, turn your work, then insert your hook into the first stitch and then place 2 single crochet. Then chain 1, turn your work, and then we're going to skip the very first stitch, insert a hook into the second stitch and place a single crochet. Now chain 1 again, and then turn your work, and then insert a hook into the only stitch that's remaining, and then do a single crochet. After this, you'll have something that looks like this. Now we're just going to clean up the border. To clean the border, we're going to chain 1 and then do a bunch of single crochet all around the border. So insert a hook on the side of our piece. Just pick up any loop that you can get your hook into, and then place a bunch of single crochet around it. And that's very personal because there's not an exact number of single crochet you have to do. So yours might look different, but that's totally fine as long as you have a bunch of single crochet around the border. After you reach the stitch marker, do a slip stitch. You're gonna have something that looks like this. It's a little curved, but it would fit perfectly around the body. Now pull a big loop and then cut the yarn. Now let's move on to making the 2 legs. First, start by making a slip knot. Then we're going to be making chain 3. After this, we're going to go back into the very first chain. So insert your hook into the first chain and then do a slip stitch. After this, we're going to chain 2. So yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through. After this, insert a hook back into the first stitch of the chain 2 that you just made. So insert a hook back into the chain 2. Then do a slip stitch. After this, chain 2 again, slip stitch into the first chain. After this, we're going to be inserting our hook into the very first chain that we did in the beginning of this project. So insert it right there and then do a slip stitch. After this, we're going to cut the tail and then tie a knot using the remaining 2 tails. Then here is your leg. We're going to make 2 of them. Now let's move on to the beak. As you can see, the yarn is very thin. It's basically 2-ply yarn, so to have 2-ply yarn you can use the 5-ply yarn and then just tear it apart, and then you have 2 strands. Just get 2 strands out of the 5 strand. You can use 2mm hook like I do, but you can also use 3mm hook. It doesn't really matter. Now let's make a slip knot and then slide your hook into that loop. Now start by chaining 4. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. After this, we're gonna skip the first chain and then insert hook into the second chain from hook. Then we're gonna do our first single crochet. And then our second single crochet into the upcoming chain as well. Then we'll have one chain left. We're just going to do a slip stitch on the very last chain. And then for round 2, we're going to chain 1. Then turn our work. Then we're going to slip stitch to the first stitch. Then we're going to make 2 single crochet in the middle. Then chain 1, turn our work for round 3. Now we're going to make a slip stitch for the first stitch. Then do a single crochet. Then we're going to do a half double crochet into the very last stitch. Then we're going to cut the yarn and pull the yarn through and thread it through the darning needle. And then you're just going to sew it together to make it a little like rod shape to form a beak. So now let's cut out the felt part, and here are all the radius for all the eyes and wings part. Basically draw them out on a paper and then cut out the paper and cut the felt using the paper, and then you'll be done. Congrats guys, we're so close. Now let's make the hat. So start by a magic ring, then we're gonna chain 1 and then do 6 single crochet into this magic ring. By the way, this hat is optional. You know, the cat is the owner of the hat and the bird just stole it, so I mean, you don't really need to make it if you don't want to. After placing 6 single crochet, you're going to want to close up the magic ring and then do a slip stitch to the very first stitch. After this, let's move on to round 2. Start by chaining 1 to start round 2. Then we're going to make 6 increases. So for every stitch from the previous round, we're going to make 2 single crochet from 1 stitch. So I've just finished making 1 single crochet, then I'm going back into the same stitch, making my second single crochet. Then we're just going to repeat it again, so place my first single crochet, then my second single crochet into the same stitch. Now ta-da, here's 2 increases. We're just going to repeat it until the round ends. After the end of the round, we're going to take out the stitch marker, do a slip stitch. Then let's start round 3. Start by chaining 1, and for round 3, we're just going to do back loops only, single crochet. So you can see there's 2 loops on the V. We're just going to pick up the back loop, the loop that's further away from us. Pick that loop up using your hook, and then we're just going to do a normal single crochet from there. So still just a normal single crochet, but you're just picking up the back loop only instead of the both loops. Now let's make 12 of them, so 1 stitch at a time. So just placing 1 single crochet in each and every stitch using the back loop only. Now at the end, take out the stitch marker and do a slip stitch. Now for round 4, start by chaining 1, then we're going to make 1 single crochet followed by an increase and repeat this pattern until the round ends. After the single crochet, make an increase. So I'm making my first stitch of the increase and then the second stitch. Then again, single crochet and then increase. Then our third pair, so single crochet, then an increase, 2 single crochet in 1 stitch. Now we're going to repeat it until we reach the stitch marker. At the end, take out the stitch marker and do a slip stitch. Now let's start round 5. So start by chaining 1, then we're just going to make 1 single crochet in each and every stitch. So just 1 stitch at a time. Then after the end of the round, slip stitch to the very first stitch, then we're going to start round 6. So to start round 6, start by chaining 2 because for this round we're going to be making double crochet increases for every stitch. We're going to make 18 of them. By the way, it's all front loop only double crochet. So start by making your first double crochet into the first stitch. So as you can see, you're only picking up the front loop. Then place the stitch marker to mark the very first stitch. Now we're going to make another double crochet into the exact same stitch, going back into the same stitch. And there you go, here is your double crochet increase. Now let's make our second double crochet increase. So pick up the front loop and then make our first double crochet. Now we're going to go back into the same front loop and then place another double crochet. Just going to repeat it until the round ends. Now at the end, take out the stitch marker and do a slip stitch to finish off the round. Stitch and then fasten off. Now we're going to hide the tail, so grab your hook, insert a hook into the nearest stitch from the tail and then just pull it through. And then just insert a hook into any loops from the inside of the hat and then pull it through. Ta-da, there you go, here's your cute little hat. Now let's move on to the most exciting part, which is the assembly part. You can get your hot glue gun or a super glue and just glue all the parts onto the bird, so including the wings, the hat, the eyes, the legs. Now ta-da, here is your cute little bird. Honestly, you can just stop it here, but there is a little detail in the front of the bird where there is a few black dots, but if you don't want to make it, I'm going to teach you how. Basically, thread the darning needle with a black yarn and then come up in the front of the bird and then come up on the stitch where you want to make the black dot. Then wrap the black yarn around your darning needle. Your darning needle should go back into the same stitch that your needle come up with, and then just thread it through, pull the yarn tail through, then you'll be able to see a knot. Now we're going to do this again. So wrap the black yarn around the darning needle, then thread it through to the next stitch like this, and then pull it completely through, and you'll see a dot. Now repeat this until you have 3 black dots. Now, ta-da! There you go. Thank you so much for sticking to the end of the tutorial. This is your sign to get your Lilthings yarn, so head to lilthingsworld.com and get yours now. Also try Printful today through my link in the description box. And I'll see you guys on the next one.